In 1845, the Little Match Girl story didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Hans Christian Andersen, the author, was inspired by a woodcut from Danish artist Johan Thomas Lundby, showing a young girl selling matches on the street. This image, mixed with his childhood memories and his mom's stories about her own struggles, came together to create the narrative. Published in December 1845, right before Christmas, it added a layer of tragic irony, while families celebrated in their cozy homes. Andersen showed them the harsh reality outside, the suffering of the forgotten poor. He wasn't just sharing a sad tale. He was making a bold social statement about a society that could feast and celebrate while a child froze to death on the streets. His stories faced the harsh truths of life head-on, pushing readers to really feel and think. The Little Match Girl, a tale from Danish heritage, unfolds on the last evening of the year. New Year's Eve, a time of celebration, reflection, and new beginnings. The setting is deliberately cruel in its contrast. The world is festive, filled with the delicious smells of roast goose and the sounds of laughter. But for our protagonist, a small, barefoot girl, it is the coldest, darkest night. She has been sent out by her abusive father to sell matches with the threat of a beating if she returns home empty. But no one has bought a single match. The people who hurry past are too caught up in their own holiday preparations to notice her. She is invisible. This detail is crucial. Her poverty doesn't just make her uncomfortable, it renders her non-existent in the eyes of society. She is barefoot, having lost her mother's oversized slippers, one stolen by a boy and the other lost in the street. This small detail symbolizes her vulnerability and the stripping away of even the most basic protections against the brutal cold. She dares not go home for the only warmth there is, the anger of her father, and their home is scarcely better than the street with a roof, through which the wind whistled, although the largest cracks were stuffed with straw and rags. Finding a small nook between two houses, the little girl decides to strike a match to warm her frozen fingers. This simple act is the catalyst for the story's magical, yet tragic, turn. As the match flares to life, it doesn't just provide physical warmth, it conjures a vision. She sees a great iron stove, its polished brass fittings glowing, radiating a blissful heat. She stretches out her feet to warm them, but just as she begins to feel its comfort, the match goes out and the vision vanishes. The stove is gone, and she is left holding only the burnt stick, the cold reality crashing back in. Driven by the memory of that fleeting warmth, she strikes another match. This time, the vision is even more splendid. She sees a room with a table laid for a feast, a shining white cloth, and at its center, a roast goose stuffed with apples and prunes, which astonishingly hops down from the platter and waddles toward her. Again, the match burns out, and the magnificent feast disappears, leaving her facing nothing but the thick, cold wall. These visions are not random. They represent the fundamental human needs she is being denied, warmth and nourishment. They are the very things the people in the houses around her are enjoying, the things she can smell and hear but cannot have. Each vision is a projection of her deepest desires, a temporary escape created by the fragile, fleeting light of a match. The third match she strikes reveals a beautiful Christmas tree, larger and more decorated than any she had seen through the windows of the wealthy homes. Thousands of candles glitter on its branches, and colorful pictures look down at her. As she reaches for them, the match sputters and dies. But as the vision of the tree fades, the candles seem to rise higher and higher until they become the stars in the night sky. One of the stars falls, leaving a fiery trail. The little girl remembers her grandmother, the only person who ever loved her, who told her that a falling star means a soul is going to God. This memory of her grandmother triggers the final, most poignant vision. She quickly strikes a whole bundle of matches against the wall, desperate to keep the light from fading. And in that brilliant, dazzling blaze, she sees her beloved grandmother looking so bright, so kind, and so loving. The girl cries out, "Grandmother, oh, take me with you. I know you will go away when the match burns out. You will vanish like the warm stove, the delicious roast goose, and the great glorious Christmas tree." In a desperate attempt to hold on to this vision, to prevent her only source of love and comfort from disappearing, she strikes match after match, and her grandmother, more beautiful and radiant than ever, scoops the little girl up into her arms. Together, they fly upwards in brightness and in joy to a place where there is no cold, no hunger, no fear. They fly to be with God. The next morning, on New Year's Day, the townspeople find the little girl frozen to death in the corner between the houses, with rosy cheeks and a smiling mouth. They see the bundle of burnt-out matches beside her and remark, "She wanted to warm herself, but no one could imagine the beautiful things she had seen, or the glory in which she had entered with her grandmother into the joy of the new year." The ending is what makes the little match girl so enduring and so controversial. On one hand, it is profoundly tragic. A child dies alone and forgotten on a public street due to societal neglect and cruelty. The next morning, on New Year's Day, the townspeople find the little girl frozen to death in the corner between the houses, with rosy cheeks and a smiling mouth. The passers-by in the morning understand her physical need. She wanted to warm herself, but they remain completely oblivious to her spiritual journey, to the beautiful visions that gave her solace in her final moments. This is Andersen's final critique. Even in death, her inner world, her humanity, remains invisible to them. On the other hand, Andersen frames her death not as a pure tragedy, but as a form of divine rescue, a transcendent escape. Her spirit is reunited with her loving grandmother and ascends to heaven. This dual interpretation has been the subject of debate for over 175 years. Is it a comforting religious allegory, suggesting that the suffering of the righteous on earth will be rewarded in the afterlife? Or is it a deeply cynical social commentary suggesting that for the desperately poor, the only escape from their suffering is death? The brilliance of the story is that it is both. It offers a sliver of spiritual hope while simultaneously refusing to absolve society of its guilt. The Little Match Girl is a powerful story that really tugs at the heartstrings, first published in 1845. This tale has become a symbol of childhood poverty and social neglect, especially around Christmas time. It pushes us to look beyond the festive cheer and notice those who are struggling. And here's the kicker. It challenges our idea of a happy ending. The story suggests that the little girl only finds true happiness in death, which is a pretty harsh critique of her world. By choosing a child as the main character, Andersen amplifies the emotional punch. The loss of a child hits hard, and her innocence makes the cruelty she faces feel even worse. Andersen didn't just want to make people sad. He wanted us to really see what's happening. He used a fairy tale to share a timeless message about empathy and the dignity of every life. That's why, even after all these years, her story still shines brightly against the darkness of indifference.